Hello, everybody, and welcome to that FPL. And it's time for that FPL show, Game Week 3. I'm joined, as always, by Danny. How you doing, Danny?
I'm doing good. I can't believe it's week 3 already. It's flying by. Can't
Yeah,
wait.
three. We haven't missed a week so far. This one's going to be done a bit late. It's Thursday as time is recording. Is that
Yeah.
right? It is Thursday, yeah. We're going to be doing a Champions League group stage reaction after this, so be sure to look for that one coming out on the channel as well. Danny, weird week of football for me. There wasn't that many like standout games to look forward to, but the ones which were definitely delivered. How do you feel?
Yeah, it was a mixed bag to be fair. There was some great games and there was some really boring games.
Stinkers.
We got our first nil-nil of the season.
Yeah, that was a bit of a pain to take notes for on that one, Danny. I won't lie. What have you been up to? I think you went to watch one of the League Cup games the other night, right?
So I live in Cardiff and I went to see Cardiff play Brighton and Hove Albion at
So
home.
you, so you went to fanboy for your main man, Graham Potter, right?
Yeah, Graham Potter, great coach. Unfortunately, I didn't really see Brighton play. It was like Brighton B team. There was like two players I knew that started the game. Jason Steele, you might remember him from the Sunderland documentary. He played, but yeah, Cardiff are just awful. They play awful football, and it wasn't a good watch, to be honest.
What was the score?
2-0 to Brighton.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, because we're talking about football, let's have a look at last week's results and just have a reflect on the games from last week. We started on Saturday, Danny. It was Liverpool against Burnley. First of all, this game was super physical, straight from the off, really. The rest really looked to let things go, and I think it made it a really enjoyable watch. How do you think about that?
It was really feisty, and I'm in the camp that I enjoy how the refs are now letting some things go that really would have been a foul last season, and it just makes the games a lot more fast paced. There's none of this stopping and starting. And Liverpool v Burnley on the Saturday at 12:45 was that start of that, and good evidence of why we should continue like this.
Yeah, it was. I definitely agree with you that the refs letting things go is definitely making the game more of a spectacle. It's more enjoyable to watch. Let's start and go. But the game started. Jota went, put Liverpool 1-0 up. He got in front of Ben Mee and he slotted his header past the goalkeeper. It was a cross from Tsimikas, who I was raving about before the season started. Salah had a goal disallowed for offside, as did Barnes in the second half. Mane made it 2-0 up. He had a beautiful ball threaded through from Trent Alexander-Arnold, and he finished it on our volley. It was a really great team goal. I think that Liverpool played well. It was a really good game. I think the Anfield fans really gave them that boost, and they were solid throughout. I think Burnley did well at the start, but as the game kind of went away from them, they didn't look like they was ever going to get back in it.
Yeah. I think Burnley, they actually gave a good account for themselves. A lot of teams maybe down near the bottom of the table will go to Anfield and just try and hold on for a draw, like don't attack, basically park the bus. But Burnley actually, they went for it. They attacked. They had a few good chances in the first half, but at the end of the day, Liverpool's quality got them over the line. The only disappointment for me personally was Salah's goal was disallowed, and he was my fantasy captain, so that annoys me a bit.
Yeah, and that takes us on to the 3 o'clock kickoff, Danny. City played against Norwich. This game was a bit of a weird one for me because City dominated the game, and you really can't take too much away from them, but you can't really give them anything either because Norwich were never in it, really. I still think City need a striker, whether it's Kane or someone else. Obviously Kane's decided now he's staying at Spurs. I don't think he's decided it. I think he's basically come out and said Levy's decided it. But, I think they definitely need a striker. They're linked with Ronaldo. I think that might help. So the game started. It was an own goal for Krul. I think it was a bit harsh. I think it may have come off Hanley, and then it's hit Krul and gone in. Then City went 2-0 up with Grealish. This goal was just one of those ones where it just hit him. I don't think he knew too much about it. He went off celebrating, put his fingers in his ears, as if to say he's not listening to the haters. That kind of pissed me off, to be honest. I didn't like that celebration. Then Laporte had the ball dropped to his feet from a corner. He put that one away easily. Sterling put him 4-0 up. Walker with a run behind, and he squared it across to Sterling for a tap-in. The fifth goal for me, though, Danny, really showed how poor Norwich are. You know, Mahrez was able to make this run, and Diaz was able to put a ball over the top, and the defence was nowhere. You could see where players were being drawn out onto other men. Like Zimmerman was drawn out by Sterling, and the defence was just wide open. It looked like a connect the dots game, basically, at the back. City dominated the game. They had 67% possession. Norwich offered nothing, to be honest. Their defence was all over the place, drawn out of position constantly. But likes of Silva, Grealish, and Sterling. You know, they had one attempt on target. I think at this point, Norwich haven't invested in the squad wisely enough, and they really have a lack of a spine in the team. I think Farke is a good manager, but I don't think he's the man to keep Norwich up, especially with the lack of financial backing and support from the club.
Yeah, you've perfectly summarised Norwich there, and they've conceded 8 goals now. I think it's the most in the Premier League, playing Liverpool and Man City. Not the easiest of starts, so we can't be too critical. But as you said, their squad just really isn't good enough, and they are really fulfilling their role as a yo-yo club, and I think they will struggle to stay up.
Yeah, takes us on to Leeds Everton, Danny. I was watching this one somehow. Winky, winky. You caught this one on the highlights. It was a very competitive game, Danny. It was my game on the weekend. Everton was able to go 1-0 up. The VAR caught an incident involving Liam Cooper and DCL in the box, where, for me, it was a bit like 50-50. They were both grabbing each other, but then, as the ball was played in, DCL looked to get on the end of it, and it was pulled back clearly by Liam Cooper. It was maybe a bit soft, but, you know, it probably is a penalty. It was a beautiful cross in as well from Digne, which didn't really get much credit. DCL slotted the penalty away decisively. It looks like he's going to have another really high-scoring season, so definitely one to stick in your fantasy team. It went 1-1, Danny. Rafinha was able to connect on top of a long ball from Ayling, and he sent it through into the path of Bamford. He slotted it in to Click after he drawled in Mina, and he dispatched the finish 1-1 with Jordan Henderson quite nicely. 2-1 Everton later on in the game, straight after the half-time. Early in the second half, Damari Gray was able to put the ball through Dallas's legs and find the goal right in the corner past Jordan Pickford, from quite a weird angle as well. But it was a great goal, and Damari Gray is really shining early on, Danny. How do you feel about Damari?
What an underrated signing. What was it, like 1.5 million? And it's looking at a steal.
I think it was around 4 million. I'm not too sure about that, though. You might be right. But yeah, he's started off really quick, and we saw glimpses of him at Leicester, but we didn't see like this sort of consistency, I would say.
Yeah, he was never really given a run in the team at Leicester because, of course, they have a lot of quality. But it'll be interesting to see how he can go over the course of a whole season if he can keep up this good start.
Yeah, I'm excited to see if it happens. Anyway, Rafinha was able to score the equaliser, Danny, after a corner from Calvin Phillips was able put a cross into the box, and it landed at the feet of Liam Cooper, laid it back to Rafinha in the corner of the box. He curled it into the bottom corner. It was an absolutely brilliant goal from Rafinha. He looks like an absolute baller. I wrote down here, this game was full of chances. Leeds could add a penalty as well towards the end of the game, Danny, on the final whistle. The game ended 2-2. There were some really standout performances in this game. I think DCL could add a couple more goals. Damari Gray had a great game, as did Rafinha. He looked lively throughout. Bamford was definitely a handful, a bit of a nuisance for the Everton defence. What's his name? Mina. What's his first name? Yuri Mina, is it?
Yeah, Mina.
Yerry Mina, yeah, they had a bit of a tussle in the game. I think both men got a yellow card. That was pretty entertaining. I think both teams will probably think that they deserve more than a point coming out of this one, Danny. It was a very tight game.
Yeah, 2-2. These are two teams that, yeah, we both predicted, I think, to finish in the top 10. I think people are underestimating Benitez as Everton manager. And yeah, from the highlights, it looked like a great game, a great advertisement for mid-table to higher football for the Premier League. You know, these are two quality teams that, yeah, they might not be in Europe, but they're still very good to watch.
Yeah, it was. For me, it was the standout of the 3 o'clock games. Not many people were looking forward to the late kickoff on Saturday, so it was probably the game of the day for me. Then, Danny, let's go on to Villa Newcastle. This was a bit of a weird game. I was talking to Rod while this one was going on. Our friend Rodion, a big Villa fan. He was telling me, because I wasn't watching this one, he was telling me, oh, it was a bit of a bare game. So I watched the highlights of it after, and Wilson missed a massive chance early on. He spun Tyrone Mings and he went one-on-one with Martinez. I think he looked to curl it into the top corner, but it just went wide, and he lived to regret that one. Newcastle were creating quite a few chances down the right-hand side in the opening half with Alan St. Maximin and Willock. They were looking quite dangerous at times. Villa did go 1-0 up though, Danny, in the injury time of the first half. Danny Ings with an absolute fucking thunder cunt. A long throw in from Mings, and a long throw in. Sorry, Mings was able to head it on, and Danny Ings set himself up for this sort of bicycle kick. He smashed it past the keeper, left them with no chance. It's probably going to be. It was definitely the goal of the weekend. Probably
the goal of the month.
Probably the goal of the month. Yeah. The game finished 2-0 though, because Al Ghazi was able to score from the spot after VAR decided it was a handball on Jamal Lascelles, I think, after a corner ball was played in. Newcastle got a penalty late on in the game when Wilson went through and clattered with Emi Martinez. However, VAR went back and saw that Wilson was offside, so the game finished 2-0. It was just a great win for Villa in total. I don't think they played their best football, but when you're not playing at your best, to get results over the line, that's what's most important, Danny.
Yeah. Obviously, after their stuttering start last week, of course we've talked at length about how Villa this season are going to have to take time to mould. So this was a great result for them, I think. And just Newcastle is not looking good for them at the start of the season, is it? You're talking about that Callum Wilson chance where he should have scored, and they need to be taking those sorts of chances. My only gripe for me with the game is, I have Danny Ings in my fantasy team. Of course, he scored that absolute worldie, but why isn't Dean Smith sticking him on the penalty? Well, he was on the pitch. I believe he was on the pitch at that point.
He was on the pitch, yeah. It's a weird one. I think Al Ghazi's always been taking the penalties for him.
Yeah, well, he scored it, so you can't really question the decision of the manager.
You can't question it, Danny. And this is going to take us on to which is looked as the most boring game of the weekend, but actually, when I was watching the highlights, it turned out to be quite a good game. I was definitely surprised that Palace and Brentford ended with no goals. Obviously, you're going to slander Vieira again, but I definitely thought there was going to be goals in this one, Danny. Gallagher missed a really big chance for Palace early on. He went through and he hit the woodwork from quite close. And Buemo hit the post as well from a free kick. Tony missed multiple chances from corners where he's able to get the leap on someone and get the first header, but quite a few of them went over the bar. Oh, MacArthur as well. Oh, wow. He had this crazy shot from outside the box, was just fingertips from the Brentford goalkeeper, David Raya, is it? Saved it. Brilliant save. To me, I felt like Brentford looked like the most likely team to score in this game. However, I think both teams will look back later in the season and not look at it as a point gained, more as 2 points lost.
Yeah, of course. I think two very evenly matched teams. With Palace, I think they can't be too mad because they did lose 3-0 as their first game of the season. Yeah, it was at Chelsea, but I think first home game of the season, not losing must be seen as a positive. Of course, not conceding a goal. That's one of the things about Palace is, do they have the strongest defence? But yeah, as you said, two evenly matched teams. Maybe Brentford should have nicked it, but it was a misleading 1-0 because it was, as you said.
No, it was 0-0.
Yeah, a misleading 0-0. It was 0-0, but it was actually some good chances. It wasn't just a stalemate.
And it wasn't just like Brentford had real good chances, because Palace definitely could have scored in that game. It could have really been like a 3-2 if they would have taken their chances. Taken their chances, not taken them. Right, it takes us on to the late kickoff on the Saturday, Danny. Brighton against Watford. A really good game, in my opinion. After a strong start, Brighton, they went 1-0 up from a headed goal from Duffy. He hit the underside of the crossbar from a corner. Really well taken header. They look dangerous from set pieces, Brighton. They went 2-0 up in, for me, which is one of the best goals of the weekend, just because of the team play, where Basuma, he reads the game superbly. He gets to the ball just before Cleverley as the ball's played into him from William Truce de Kong. The ball ended up in the path of Maupay, and he just finished it easily. I'm actually a really big fan of Maupay. I've been for a while. I was talking to Rod a few seasons back. I was like, it'd be good if Villa could have got him, but obviously we don't need him now. It really showed to me this game. I'm really surprised how Basuma hasn't moved on to one of the big boys yet. I'll never know how he hasn't moved on. He definitely has qualities which would suit, a lot of the big six, the traditional big six, let's say anyway. Brighton looked comfortable throughout the game. Watford did try to come on late, but it wasn't to be. It was a very impressive performance from Brighton, Danny, who have now taken 6 points from the opening 6.
Yeah, it's looking very good for Brighton. And yeah, you just touched on Basuma. I think he would be perfect for Manchester United in that deep midfield role. But it will be really, really good if, from a Brighton standpoint, if they can hold on to him, because he is one of their most important players. And as you said there, he's pivotal to the team. And Brighton just looking good. It's proven we're both big fans of Graham, big Graham Potter.
Football
hipsters maybe, but the proof's in the pudding. That's 2 wins from Brighton. I don't think.
Yeah, definitely. Watford did have chances. It was just Brighton were the more consistent team over the 90 minutes. Anyway, Danny, that takes us on to Sunday. It was a very, how would you say, frustrating day for myself. I'm a United fan. Southampton.
A very frustrating afternoon, wasn't it, from a United fan point of view?
Yeah, you can just see the holes in the squad clearly. Obviously, a lot of people getting hyped up after the 5-1 win, over Leeds United. But that's the sort of game United do win. But it's these ones which are just typical United. Anyway, Southampton played with no fear. They got after United from the first minute, and they did look like the team you probably deserved and looked most likely to win at the end of the game. United struggled against the press. There was some really poor displays of passing from the likes of, Fred, Harry Maguire getting caught on the ball as well. They went 1-0 up Southampton, and I don't want to take away their goal because but for me it was a foul. I'll see a lot of people online saying it's not a foul, and they're just like, only United fans think it's a foul because it's their player. But I think if it was happened to someone else's team, they would say it was a clear foul as well. Like if it would have happened in the Brentford Palace game, everyone would have said it was a foul, but because it's United, they don't want to give them credit for it. Did you think it was a foul, Danny?
It was a clear as day foul for me, and it was really frustrating. But, it's the way we were talking about this earlier, this change in referee, and they're letting a lot of things go. And this is one of the things that's going to happen with this new refereeing style. And yeah, it is frustrating for United fans, and it was a foul. He came in through the player. He got to the ball, but he went through the player. And for me, that's always a foul.
Yeah, I just put down, what's he looking for it? Yes, he was clearly looking for the foul, Fernandez. But
the best players always are looking for the foul, though. They know they can see the foul coming.
Yeah, but the guy got 0% of the ball, so I didn't think it was a foul. Some positives for United. Greenwood took his chance well. Pogba looked really sharp in this game, I'd say. He almost scored an absolute blinder. A little bit of skill on the box where he took it past like three people. Sancho looked really good when he came on. I thought he showed quite good chemistry already with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And the last positive for me was De Gea. What a save from the one-on-one. Saved the result for United, saved them a point anyway. I just feel like it's a lot of the same under Ollie. No real change. That lost the midfield battle. I think you could put Romeo and Ward-Prowse in the United team, and they're an instantly better team. They never got hold of the ball. Really didn't have anyone on the pitch who wanted to dictate the tempo of the game for long periods. I was just really shocked why Donny wasn't involved in this game. I know it doesn't look like he's Ollie's favourite, but this is the sort of game where he really would have taken some pressure off United. He knows how to get the ball and feed it through to the players, whereas Fred takes too long on the ball. And the one clip, which is definitely memeable, was when Fred passed it out of bounds, passing it to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Just a real frustrating day at the office for United, Danny.
Yeah, it was a reality check after the Leeds game. And going back to the midfield battle, we did lose it. And the worst thing is, as much as we can criticise Fred and how poor his passing was, how long he takes on the ball, when he actually went off is when United were in the ascendancy when he went off, and we completely lost control of the game after he went off, and it was all Southampton till the final whistle, which just shows Fred is our only sort of energetic midfielder, which shows how desperate United are when Fred, as bad as he has been, is like the only one who can actually win balls in midfield.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't want to just shit on Fred and like McTominay and those likes, because at the end of the day, they do have their purpose and they're good players for what they are. They're very energetic. They're a bit of a nuisance in the midfield. They get hold of the ball. They like to get in there. A lot of running. But in that sort of game, United need someone who can sit on the ball and really dictate the game, and they didn't have that at all. It'll be interesting to see if United do go out and get a midfielder in the transfer window. It doesn't look too likely, I'd say, but that's something they really need.
Going off what Ollie's been saying lately and how he's happy with the transfer window, it is a bit worrying for me. But you're going back to, you were talking about Greenwood, and it was, again, he scored again. And I know Gary Neville was on Monday Night Football talking about why don't United go for Harry Kane and all this. For me, put your money on Greenwood. He was shuffled out to the right-hand side for Martial, who had a really poor game. For me, is put all your money on Greenwood, play him through the middle, or play Cavani there. Just don't play Martial there. And I think Greenwood can score easily over 20 goals in the league this season, going off of his start.
Yeah, bold prediction there, Danny, but I wouldn't disagree with you. Anyway, it takes us on to Wolves versus Spurs. It was the return of Nuno, going back to his old stomping ground with Wolves. Ali was taken out by Jose Sarr in the early stages of the game to win Spurs a penalty. Dele dispatched of it into the bottom right corner to give Spurs a lead. Wolves felt robbed of a penalty when Semedo made contact with Skip in the box. Danny, I don't know if you saw this.
Yeah, I did.
What did you think? I thought penalty.
Agreed. Penalty for me.
Yeah, I just feel like, when someone's running, it doesn't take that much contact. And there was more contact than like certain penalties which are given. I thought it was a penalty. I thought they were robbed of it as well. Wolves really created some decent chances in this game, including Ardama going through one-on-one with Lloris. But, he's really shown over the last couple seasons, I'll say. He had a good season a few seasons ago, but he's showing a real lack of, finishing ability.
And product.
End product, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, Wolves probably feel a bit, robbed in this game. Kane came on for Spurs. He almost put Spurs 2-0 up, but he didn't need it anyway, as they saw out the game quite comfortably. Came away with all 3 points, giving Spurs 6 from 6.
Yeah, I think Spurs fans, they're happy they've got 2 wins from 2, but they were happy with the game against Man City. But apparently I've been seeing a lot of Spurs fans saying they were unhappy with the performance against Wolves, and they conceded a lot of chances. But, a win's a win. And in the second game, they have the whole season to improve. And they have Kane now.
I don't think they can ask for too much. I think Nuno's done great. He's off to a great start, right? So, you got to give him credit for that. It'd be interesting to see how they do against certain clubs, because Wolves are that sort of club which are, they're not nothing spectacular, but they're always a difficult game. And it was good to see him come away with all 3 points. Takes us on to... you know what? I'm going to skip the Arsenal-Chelsea game. I'll come to that one after. I'm going to go to West Ham-Leicester on Monday Night Football, Danny. This was a game which for me was kind of ruined by the red card, but, nonetheless, for me, Antonio just stole the show with this game, Danny. From start to finish, you could see he was on it. He was winning the ball, out-muscling Ndidi, running through, creating chances. He obviously got his 2 goals in the end and an assist, which was great for fantasy owners.
Like myself.
Yeah, I think the talking point in this game really comes down to the red card, Danny. I think we're a bit different. I can see why it's a red card, don't get me wrong. I just felt like the fact that he was nudged and he's leaning forward and he's lost control, really, takes away the red card from me. I could definitely see it being a yellow. And it was dangerous, but I don't think it's intentional. And I know they go, it's not about intent. But he was kind of pushed into it. So I don't think it was a red. But you think it is a red.
Yeah, I agree with what all of you said, but I'm just going off of how referees play it. And when he had his foot in that position, and for referees, as you said, it's like what looks bad, and it just looked bad. And I think he was unlucky, but for me, red card.
Any standout performance from you in the West Ham game? Obviously, I touched on Antonio, but there were some great players. I think Declan Rice had a great game as well, Danny.
Yeah, great game, building on the performances from the Euros. And for me, again, it's our man, Ben Rama, as you like to call him, Banana Rama.
Banana Rama, yeah.
Another goal today, and I keep saying it, he is a good shout for fantasy teams.
You called it before this even started. You said Banana Rama.
Yeah.
And then I corrected you and said Ben Rama. But you called it, and he has gotten off to a really good start. And even if they were to bring in Lingard, I can see him staying.
They are looking good, aren't they? Thing is, with West Ham, they had a very good season last season, and you could say maybe they overachieved last season with a few clubs really underperforming. But, they've come to the start of this season and they've just carried it straight on. They've picked up where they left off, and they are looking very good. And if they can get Lingard back in, that would be brilliant. But I think they will be perfectly fine without him, because 4 goals in the opening 2 games. I think they've scored the most goals in the league so far.
Yeah, I think they're top of the league, aren't they? Yeah, top of the league. Yeah, so the Arsenal-Chelsea game, first of all, Danny, Arteta, so naive, playing a back 4. People are giving Tierney a lot of slack in this game. I think it's more on Arteta. I think he could have gone to a back 5 and been much more secure. Just really poor. They didn't have a strong defence to start with in the back 4, so I can't see why he didn't start with a back 5. Arsenal did start quite strong going forward. They created a few chances. Never really looked like scoring. Saka had a shout for a penalty, Danny. I thought it was a pen. Did you?
On Reece James, wasn't it?
Reece James.
I did think it was a penalty, but you know what? I was happy it wasn't, because I had Reece James in my fantasy team, and then of course he scored the goal and the assist. So but it was a penalty for me.
Yeah, I thought it was a penalty. Then come on to Lukaku. Man, he looked absolutely fantastic. It shows he's clearly improved from his time at United, but it also shows how Chelsea definitely play more to his strengths by getting people around him, getting bodies around him. He was able to, really dictate the game and where Mari was going to be playing, really just backing up into him the whole game. For his goal, he was able to back up into him, lay the ball off quickly. He showed really determination, desire, and hunger to score a goal. After that, he passed the ball off, he sprinted, turned his man. I can't remember who it was, but someone was next to him. They didn't stand a chance. They went flying. He got into position for a tap in. It was a great goal. He could add another one as well later on in the game. He had his powerful header.
Hit the bar, didn't it?
Yeah, just tipped on by Leno. Great save. Both goals did come from Reece James, as you say. Like his fellow wing-back, Alonso, I took a lot of notice of them in this game. They got forward a lot, and they was always high and wide. And, at one point, Chelsea are on a breakaway, and you're thinking, oh, it's going to be Mount, Lukaku, and Havertz. But no, it was Reece James, Alonso, and Lukaku in the middle. They were like a front three, almost. And, James was able to get, inside into the box quite a bit. With Tierney drifting inwards, he was able to get his goal from that and the assist, Danny. He took his goal really well. And there was a bit of a scary moment for FPL owners and just football in general when it looked like Reece James was out cold on the pitch, but I don't really know what happened because he got up and started playing after.
Yeah, I had no idea what happened there. It was a bit of a weird one, but Reece James, I think the only thing we can ask for him now is a bit more of the numbers. I feel like last season he did get a couple of goals and assists, but I feel like if he's in this Chelsea team, which is an incredible Chelsea team, it must be said, they are looking really good. I want to see him getting a lot more big numbers on the assists and goals. Obviously, nothing outrageous. Maybe he'll never get those Trent Alexander-Arnold numbers, but I would like him to. And of course, I would like it for fantasy. And I like him as a player and as well.
Yeah, just to cut in, I was just going to say, if you look at last season, a lot of those numbers were probably taken away by the lack of Werner's finishing. So I think he will get Trent numbers this season, especially with Lukaku, who looks, he's always getting into position. He's always where you want him to be. In terms of Arsenal, Danny, I think Emile Smith-Rowe was their best performer. I don't think he got on the ball enough. But when he did get on the ball, he looked like the most threatening player.
Yeah, every time he got on the ball, you sat up in your seat. He's just one of those players that when he gets the ball, you think something's going to happen. And
I like him because he's not greedy as well. I'd like to see him be a bit more greedy because he does lay the ball off a bit too much sometimes, I think. It looks like now that Arsenal are going to go into the international break, Danny, with no points. It really questions how long Arteta is going to stay in the job.
Yeah, and going back to it, you said why did they start with a back four? And everyone could see it coming. We saw it coming last week when we made the predictions for this game. We said Romelu Lukaku was going to bully their defense, and Arteta should have realised, okay, I need to bulk up my defense, put an extra man in there, make sure that Lukaku has no time on the ball. But it's just naive, as you said, and it will be very hard to. I don't think he will be sacked if he loses his third game. It is still early days, but it's not looking good for them, is it?
It's not. I think with Arsenal, there's certain things you can definitely put on the board. I know people are saying, "Oh, they spent money this season." Have they spent it the right way? Because obviously, you look in the past, and they've brought in players who are basically over the hill, not good enough for rivals, but they're putting them on massive wages. They haven't got no resellability. But there's certain things you got to put on Arteta as well, because he was definitely naive going into this game. I don't think he's the man. I'll be honest. I don't think he's the man. I just don't know how long you can give him as an Arsenal.
Are you gonna put your balls on the chopping block and say he is the first manager to be sacked?
Yeah, he's going to be sacked within 6 weeks.
Bold prediction there, right?
Yeah, Danny, just on terms of Chelsea, lastly, are they favourites for the league?
Yeah, going off the opening two games and going off the signing of Lukaku and how well he fits the Chelsea team and how Tuchel has basically built the team around him, it looks like. They are looking outrageous, their system as well. It's for me, I think City do have the better squad, but Chelsea's system at the moment is looking just so hard to beat. There's not really a lot of weaknesses in that team. It's gutting for me because the United fan, I really wanted United to try and challenge for the title this season, but Chelsea just look very, very good.
Yeah, bully Lukaku, as we put in last week's title. He just looks like it's just like Tuchel plays to Lukaku's strengths. Like you said, he's built the team around him almost, even though he's the latest addition. Settled in, didn't look out of place at all. Great game for Lukaku. I think Chelsea have to be the favourites for this league, especially with City not having a striker at the moment. They're definitely the favourites.
Agreed. So I've already gone back on my Premier League predictions, but there you go. That's football, isn't it?
That's football. Okay, Danny. Let's go on to a bit of a FPL recap. How did you do this week?
So I actually did, decent, I would say. I got 78 points, but the weekend didn't really get off to the best start for me. Salah didn't really put in the performance I wanted him to. The goal was disallowed. He was my captain, so that was disappointing. But yeah, especially after the United game, of course, that disappointing 1-1 draw. I had 3 United players. Fernandes getting 1 point, my vice captain. Maguire 1 point. Luke Shaw 4 points. So I'm starting to question my loyalty to United's players. I think I might have to take one of my United defenders out this week. But yeah, it was the latter stages of the weekend. It did start to get a bit better. Of course, with Reece James having that storm of again against Arsenal, we just mentioned the goal and the assist, get me 18 points. Antonio on Monday night getting 16 points. And it turned out better than I expected. And of course, Tomishkas again getting 11 points as well, which is really good for a player that, didn't get a look in last season, of course, with the Robertson injury. A lot of people got him in his team. Go on.
Are you going to be taking him out now or not?
Oh, now I might keep him on my bench for now, and we'll see if Robertson does actually play. But yeah, of course, Robertson is just, I feel like he is the better player overall. Klopp is going to play him. So, but Tomishkas has been a really good sort of buy for the opening weeks of the season.
Yeah, I won't lie, Danny. I had a fucking stinker this week. I wanted to cry, especially after the United game. I lost my head, Danny. I went on to fantasy. I was like, it's almost like on FIFA when you quick sell your whole team. That's basically what I wanted to do. But then I was like, no, I'm not going to use my wild card for some reason. I don't know why. I should have just used my wild card. But instead, I spent 12 points in transfers, Danny.
12 points? Oof.
I know. I lost my head. I lost my fucking head. I just didn't know. I didn't know what I was doing. It was after the Chelsea game. I was just like pulling players out and everything. Anyway, I got 63 points last week. If it wasn't for Rob Sanchez, Danny, everyone's favourite goalkeeper, Trent, Tsimikas, Antonio, I would have not had any points, man. All my players are on like 2s and 3s. Bruno's my captain. He's got 2 points, Danny. Do you know how bad that is?
That's fantasy, though, isn't it? Fantasy that happens. I would say, like, I don't think you should have. I think you did the right thing not going for the wild card yet, because on paper your team does look very good. I mean, Alexander-Arnold, Fernandes, Salah, Antonio. You've got a lot of quality players on there.
It's changed a bit, Danny. I won't lie. First change I made, Danny, was to my defence. Tsimikas is out. Reece James is in. And I don't think it's going to really show itself this weekend because of Liverpool versus Chelsea. I don't think I'm going to have a great weekend this week, basically, because of that game. But then my other change, Danny, Heung-min Son, out. He's gone. And in comes Amari Gray.
That is an interesting... Saving a bit of money there, are you?
Yes, but also I think he's showing that he's got a bit of quality, So I've gone with him. And then, Danny, I've gone with 2 changes up top. Antonio, out. I don't know why. I should have kept him, but he's out. Right. And Tony, out. He's gone. He's done. I'm fucking ruthless at this job. I brought in Danny Ings and Bully Lukaku. Insert. I'm going to rub some dirt in your eyes.
I'm going to put some dirt in your eye.
Right, yeah. I just had a mad one, Danny. I lost my head a bit. And there's still more changes I want to make. I just got to kind of like ban myself off the
I don't
app
think
for
you've
now.
lost your head. I think like you've made some good moves there, bringing in Lukaku. taking out Son. I actually took out Son after game week 1. So, yeah, you've taken him out a week later. Yeah, you were big on Ivan Toney before the season started, and you've taken him out.
I'm still big on him, don't get me wrong. But for me, I was like, I like Dennis as the cheap option. It looks like he's going to be playing a lot for Watford. And he's
Dennis
also...
the Menace.
Dennis the Menace. Also, in terms of fantasy, the next player who I want is, I think is it Timo or Tino? Livramento, the right back for Southampton.
Oh, God, he looks such a good young player.
Danny, I'm going to get rid of Omabama Didier.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring in Livramento. Hopefully next week. Hopefully his price doesn't go up too much or anything like that. But yeah, I'm going to go with him. That's my next move. Have you got any moves coming up?
Yeah, so just going back to my team, I do feel like I am going to have Kieran Tierney on the... Who are Arsenal playing next week? I've got Kieran Tierney
City.
on... Oh, okay. I was going to bring in Tierney for Tomishkas, but I might just have to transfer out Tomishkas instead because, of course, I don't think Tierney's... And he's got a 75% chance of playing Tierney as well. So that would probably be my one move for the week.
You could probably go and get Livramento and have like loads of money spare for your next free transfer.
Yeah, that would be the smart man's move.
Actually, I don't think you would have loads of money spare because I think they're around the same price, aren't they?
Yeah, Tomishkas was quite cheap, wasn't he? Tomishkas
Yeah.
or something. I did actually make 2 changes last week because I got rid of Son and who else did I get rid of? I don't know who I got rid of, but I made 2 transfers last week, so I took a points hit. So obviously you've taken a points hit this week. I don't think I can take a points hit twice in a row. So I'm probably just going to leave it like this, stick to my guns, hope for the best. That's what fantasy's about. You just got to pray.
Pray to the footballing gods. Who always shit on United at the moment, it seems like, Danny. Should we preview next week's games, Danny?
Oh, go on then.
Let's do it. We love a bit of predictions around here, Danny. Starts 12, the Etihad Stadium. Is it going to be empty like last week, Danny? That's my first prediction.
It wasn't empty last week, kind of. I feel like I'd be like battering the City fans, but yeah, it was a bit shocking that it wasn't completely full for the first game of the season. But
yeah,
Arsenal, go on.
18 months off, right? City, champions last season, right?
Yeah.
And the stadium isn't full. I was just a bit shocked. It was like the Southampton game with United. Southampton wasn't full, but I did hear that they had some ticketing issues.
Yeah, they had some issues. So, yeah, City had no issues though. So
yeah, I was a bit shocked. But anyway, Danny, it is City against Arsenal. What are we saying? 5-0?
It's not going to be 5-0. I feel like one thing about Arsenal under Arteta is they don't lose by many goals. They lose, but he is a bit tighter at the back than Emery and Wenger. It'll be a easy 2-0 win for City for me.
Right, Danny, I'm going to go for a shock result. Not because I think it's going to happen or I necessarily believe it. I'm going to go with Arsenal 2-1.
Whoa, that would be the shock of the season so far. That is a bold prediction.
Emil Smith Rowe for my fantasy team. 2 goals.
Two goals.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
But going back to City a minute, I just want to... You're talking about the empty seats. We were talking earlier about how they don't have a striker. And of course, the rumours are that Juventus have offered City Ronaldo. And for me, this is a transfer that only makes sense from a marketing perspective. I think Ronaldo doesn't suit City at all, doesn't suit Guardiola at all, but he would be great to get those bums in the seats, Good for the exposure of Man City as a club, and that's the only reason I can see that actually happening.
I still don't think they'd sell out the stadium, Danny, if I'm being honest. The thing is, I think there's 2 sides to it. I don't think Ronaldo suits them off the ball, but I do think he would suit them in a sense of on the ball. Because I don't think, as Ronaldo's gotten older, he's become more about like having less touches and just being in position to score goals.
Being a poacher, yeah.
Yeah, I think he'd suit City in that sense. I just don't think he'd suit them off the ball, pressing or anything like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I could see that, yeah.
So you've gone with 2-0 City and I've gone with 2-1 Arsenal.
Yeah, we are definitely split there. We'll see what happens. It's I think we're both going to be hungover during this game, so this will be a good respite. I'm hoping for some good entertainment.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch it. I might have to try and get up on Sky Go on my phone or something. I don't know. Villa against Brentford, Danny. 3:00 kickoff. I'm going to go out first. I'm going to go and say it's going to be a 2-1 Villa win.
And I'm going to agree with you 100% there. I do think Brentford are going to nick a goal. They looked dangerous last week. They beat Arsenal in the first week. But I just think Villa at home again. I think every week Villa are going to improve, of course, with those new signings. Danny Ings off to a great start. And it will be a very entertaining game, I think. But Villa coming away with the 3 points for me.
Yeah, out of the 3:00 kickoffs, I think this is the game to watch, Danny. Or the next one, Danny, which is Brighton against Everton. The Amex, your favourite manager.
Yeah,
take it away.
Football is, of course I saw Brighton. Well, not really. I saw Brighton's second team against Cardiff City in the League Cup this past week, and as Brighton, you can just see under Potter they have like almost a philosophy, a style of play, and their club that is just going in the right direction. And I think this will be a very good game. I think Everton are surprising people, looking better than what people expected under Benitez. Ooh, it'll be a close one. I think I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. I'm actually going to go with Brighton to win this one, Danny. I do think Everton are going to be a bit more... as the season goes on, they're going to get a lot better defensively under Benitez. But I think they have been conceding quite a few goals so far. So I can see Brighton winning this one. 1-0. Low scoring.
Okay.
Controversial, maybe. Okay, Newcastle, Southampton, Danny. This is a hard one to pick for me because I'm now a Southampton fan again, Danny.
Yeah, we were both, we were writing Southampton off at the start of the season, looking at their squad. But, that game against United, we were eating our words, really, because they put such a good performance in. So,
yeah,
I think...
deserved it against United.
But the thing is, I think they are a bit weak away from home, and Newcastle as well. Of course, they're looking poor as well. But Newcastle got that St. James's Park home advantage. I think the crowd is always up for it up there. So I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Southampton, actually, Danny. It's not really high on Newcastle at the moment. Just not enough investment in the squad. I'm going to go Southampton. Southampton 2-1 Southampton. Right, Norwich, Leicester, Danny. I think you can only see this one going one way. It's got to be like I'm going to go with 3-0 Leicester.
I'm going to agree with you as well and say 3-0. I think it's going to, for Norwich, it's going to be, if you remember Crystal Palace under De Boer, I think it was a few seasons ago, where they lost like 5 games, the opening 5 games of the season, didn't score a goal. I don't think they're going to score in this game. They didn't score against Liverpool or City. It's going to be a really tough start to the season for them.
Yeah. Takes us on to West Ham, Crystal Palace, Danny. Let's have a bit of slander for Vieira.
Slander for Vieira. Do you know what? I'm going to be bold and say Crystal Palace are going to shock everyone. It's going to be the shock of the weekend, and they're going to nick a 2-1 victory.
You're fucking deluded. I'm going to go with West Ham to win this one 3-0, Danny.
Well, so here you give the Vieira slander. No, he's
I'm bringing it this weekend. Vieira, watch out, motherfucker.
You can guarantee one of us will be bringing the Vieira slander. At least one of us will every week.
Yeah. Liverpool, Chelsea, Danny, game of the weekend. I'm looking forward to this one so much. I just can't see this game being boring.
Yeah, this one is difficult to pick. I think the atmosphere is going to be great. Of course, Anfield, big game. Chelsea looking, very, very strong. This one. I'm gonna let you go first because I just don't know how to pick this one.
Okay, I see how it is. All right, I'm going to say that both teams will be happy with a point. I think it's going to be a quite competitive game, and late on, I think both teams may look for the point. I think it might be a 1-1 draw, this one, Danny.
Okay, now that you're thinking about both teams being pragmatic, being happy with a draw, I think it's going to be a 0-0 draw as well.
I don't think it's going to start off that way. I think both teams are going to go into the game looking for the win, but I just think it's gonna, as it gets late on in the game, they're both, maybe it's 1-1, in the 70th minute, and both teams are gonna go, yeah, let's just have a point, Burnley Leeds Sunday.
Sean Dyche, Burnley obviously I think they put in a decent performance against Liverpool last week, but Leeds I think Leeds just have the better team really, and this is the sort of game Leeds will enjoy. I think they're going to be given a lot of possession, and I'm thinking a 2-0 Leeds win.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 3-1 Leeds win. I'm going to go for a lot of goals this weekend. I don't know if you've noticed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see Burnley getting something like a goal from somewhere just because of how physical they are. I think maybe I'm going to go with a Barnes goal, but I just think Leeds might overrun them, a bit too much energy for them. Takes us on to the other 2:00 kickoff game, Danny. Spurs, again on a Sunday, Danny. They're playing on a Sunday, but they're not televised. No one cares. Spurs against Watford.
Do you know what? Go on.
Spurs 9 for 9.
Yeah, Spurs 9 for 9 for me. I think it's going to be a great start to the season for Nuno. I'm thinking a 3-0 win for me, and I think Harry Kane is going to bag a goal.
Okay. Do you know what I have to say to that, Danny?
What?
Fuck that! No way! Watford are going to get a point here. They're going to get more than a point. They're going to get the victory, Danny. Emmanuel Dennis is going to score. I'm not very impressed by Spurs' performance against Wolves, even though I said, it's good for them. But I'm going to say that Watford are going to come to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London, and they're going to win this, Danny. They're going to win 1-0.
Okay, well, we'll see. I'm actually going to... let's go back to the Spurs game, because I'm going to make my mystery fantasy pick of the week and saying put in Harry Kane, and I think he will bag a couple of goals and maybe assist this weekend. I think it's almost like the second homecoming of Kane. He's staying. The Spurs fans are just going to forget everything that's happened in the summer and take him back with open arms and really embrace him. So, yeah.
Yeah, also score goals. So, scores! Against United, Danny. Molineux. It's always a tough game for United, I feel like, Wolves. I see this one actually being quite close. I think United do have the quality to break them down, but the lack of centre mid, I think Donny needs to play in this one. It's really questionable. It depends on how they line up, United. I think they should win it, but I could see it being a draw as well. I'm going to go with a 2-0 United, Danny. But quite a close game.
Interesting. I'm going for a close game too. I'm going for a 1-0 United win. I do think Varane is going to come into the team, and that pace at the back is going to afford United to push up a bit more. I do think Sancho is going to get his first start. You can't spend that much money on a player and just keep him on the bench. You see how Grealish went straight into the team for for Man City, and Lukaku went straight into the team for Chelsea. So it just shows that you've got to put your big players in, your big signings in. So I think finally Varane and Sancho are going to start, and I think United, they're not going to play well, but they're just going to have too much quality.
Okay, fair enough, Danny. And that's the end of the show, Danny. It's been great again. Really enjoyed it. Looking forward to this next week's games. We're going out on the piss tomorrow. Can't wait. Just want to say, if you've watched the video all the way through so far, I doubt it, but if you have, please leave a like, subscribe and comment. Thanks for watching them if you have been watching them. Just really enjoying doing this with you, Danny. We've got our Champions League video coming out later on. Be sure to check that out. As I said, please leave a like and subscribe if you're feeling kind. And we'll see you next week.